Hello friends, it's me, Shin, and today I'm coming to you from Binion's here in downtown Las Vegas. We're going to Binion's Cafe for the first time. Really happy to have you along. I'll see you inside. All right everyone, and here we are seated at Binion's Cafe. This is a nice and welcoming casino diner. Tabletop seating with a lot of memorabilia on the walls. No nonsense, no frills atmosphere. A great vibe in here. Now, regardless of the vibes, you know it's all about the food for me, so let's take a look at what they have to eat on the menu. So here is your menu at Binion's Cafe. We'll start off with the breakfast. Looks like we have some kind of standard breakfast here on the left side. Pancakes, eggs, sausage, turkey, bacon, all the like. Ham, steak, and eggs here. Country fried steak and eggs, all the good stuff. Pancakes, yeah, this is all looking really good. A small list of appetizers. Looks like we've got chicken tenders as well as some wings, shrimp cocktail, and mozzarella sticks. That all looks fine. Here are burgers and sandwiches. You've got club sandwiches, a hangover burger. That looks interesting. Grilled cheese, tuna melt, cowboy cheesesteak. Yeah, that all looks good. And they apparently have their own butcher shop. That's cool. So any of these items with cleavers next to the names are butchered in-house. That's a really nice fact. All right, let's flip it on over. Take a look at what they have on the back side. Specialty salads here, as well as your house-made soup of the day. Your entrees and pastas. Looks like ribeye steak frites, chicken parm, country fried steak, all the good stuff here. Fried fish and chips as well. And your list of sides, beverages, as well as desserts. Looks like if you want to take any orders to go, it's $1.50 extra, so be aware of that. And that's your menu here at Binion's. Now that is a classic looking cafe menu here at Binion's, and a lot I'm looking forward to trying today. And you know how it goes in my videos, every restaurant is a buffet if you're willing to pay. So I'm gonna get a nice variety, and together we'll see what Binion's Cafe is all about. Appetizers, in fact, actually I think we'll start with some breakfast. Breakfast is coming up first. I'll see you in a little bit when it arrives. And welcome back everyone. My breakfast items just got here and this is looking really good. Let me give you a view. We got the New York steak and eggs, as well as some country biscuits and gravy, a full stack of pancakes, and a bacon, cheese, and mushroom omelet. This is all looking really good. Let's give it a try. Okie doke, first up, steak and eggs, starting with the New York strip. You have a choice New York steak here. I got it cooked medium, and it does look relatively cooked to temperature. Let's see how it is. Yeah, not bad. You have a choice steak here, so it's not the most tender cut, it's certainly not the most fatty, but it has been cooked well. They absolutely hit temperature, and it has been well seasoned. Some nice grill marks here. You get a little bit of that Maillard reaction, but I do think for a steak, the beef flavor is a bit muted here, more than likely just due to the quality of the beef. Still not bad for a quick steak and egg breakfast though. Perfectly passable, I'd say. Next up, the eggs in the steak and eggs. If you watch the channel enough, you know I love over medium egg, and it looks like they've got that runny yolk here. Let's see how these are. Yeah, that's good. A perfectly prepared over medium egg here. Fully cooked whites, nice runny yolks. Not as oily and buttery as I was expecting from a casino cafe. These eggs are a little bit more on the lighter side. I believe these are unseasoned also, so that you can season them and taste at your table. Perfectly fine over medium eggs here. Next up, hash browns. Some pretty standard looking hash browns here. Got a nice forkful. Here are the hash browns. Yeah, those are good. Perfectly good hash brown potatoes. A nice pan griddle to the exterior. I absolutely love the crisp. There's some very soft and starchy potatoes here. You got a good robust flavor from that. Although I don't think it's been all that well seasoned. Again, just like the eggs, I think they're meant to be seasoned at the table to your taste. But I really do like the texture of these potatoes and a good flavor coming through. A perfectly fine cafe hash brown here. Last up from the steak and eggs, this is the white toast. Pretty standard looking white toast, buttered in the center. Let's see how it is. Yeah, that's fine. Store-bought white toast here. It ain't burnt. It's got butter on it. It tastes good. Can't really complain when it comes to a white toast like this for breakfast. Nice white toast here at Binion's Cafe. Next up, biscuits and gravy. You have the option of putting on some pan-griddled ham here, so we went for that. And I've got a nice assortment on the fork. Biscuits and gravy. Oh, that's very good. I actually really like the texture of the biscuit here. Very soft, ultra buttery. little bit more cakey than it is flaky, with a much softer crust. It has some incredibly nice flavors though. I do like the biscuit. The gravy here is really nice, incredibly thick, well seasoned. It has a very rich, savory flavor with an emphasis on black pepper. There's a nice kick here. The addition of the ham is great. You have a little bit of a smoky flavor there, but it's a bit of a sweet ham as well. That nice additional sweetness actually provides a great accent flavor, a nice overall taste. I really like the biscuits and gravy. That's good here. Next up, pancakes. A good casino cafe has to have good pancakes or waffles or French toast, so I'm really hoping these are great here at Binion's Cafe. I've got some covered in syrup and butter. Let's see how this is. Oh, that is good. A really solid pancake here. Ultra fluffy, nice sweet flavors. It has a bit of a spongy texture to it. A fantastic pancake. Granted, we are using Smucker's syrup, but I mean, it tastes fine to me. You still get that nice sweetness of the maple, a bit of a woodsy note there, and the butter provides a beautiful richness as well. Typically, when it comes to pancakes, you really want to find that sweet spot when it comes to the density and the fluffiness of the pancake, and they've absolutely nailed it here at Binion's Cafe. I like these a lot. A good pancake here, I like that. Okie doke, last bite I'm trying from the breakfast round is gonna be the omelet. We got a cheddar, bacon, mushroom, and tomato omelet here. Let's give it a shot. Yeah, it's good. Nice rich eggs, although I do think it's a bit over. I would certainly prefer a little bit more of a fluffy omelet texture. That said, a nice salinity and sharp flavor from the cheese here, and a smoky saltiness coming from the bacon. A little bit of sweetness from the tomato, that's actually a very nice balance. And the earthy mushrooms provide a very nice aftertaste here. Not a bad omelet at all. If the eggs were just a little bit more fluffy in that omelet, I think this would be really great. All right, everyone, now that's all of the food I'm trying from the breakfast round today. I'm joined by two friends, so we're going to continue working on this. And then we'll do some lunch items next. Don't go anywhere, I'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. Now our second round of food just got here, and these are some lunch items. Let me give you a view. We got a cheeseburger here, along with a prime rib dip, their tuna melt, and their cowboy cheesesteak. Coleslaw and potato salads round out the sides. Let's give this all a taste. First off, the cheeseburger. Now the cheeseburger arrives deconstructed. I've applied some mayonnaise, mustard, and ketchup here. All the classic burger fixins. Let's give it a try. Yeah, not bad. I'd say a pretty standard run-of-the-mill burger here. Very soft bun. I don't believe it's toasted, so it's soft all the way throughout, though a little bit more dense than airy. In general, a pretty standard burger bun. I requested this burger cooked medium and definitely arrived to temperature. However, I do think the burger meat is a bit bland, unfortunately. It can use a little bit more additional seasoning. The vegetables here seem fresh enough, a nice bite from that onion, some sweetness from that tomato, and a nice fresh crisp from the lettuce, and a little bit of a sour tang from the pickles here. American cheese is my preference when it comes to a burger, and it's working well here. Again, in general, this is a pretty middle-of-the-road burger here. While no glaring faults, I think a little bit more of a seasoned patty would go a long way. Next up, tuna melt. I actually really like a good tuna melt. Looks pretty solid here at Binion's Cafe. Tuna melt time. Oh yes, that is very good. Textbook tuna melt here. Wonderful toast on the bread, beautiful crisp on the outside. It's been well buttered also, providing a nice richness. Perfect vessel for this sandwich. Multiple layers of cheddar cheese actually provides a very nice salinity and a bit of a sharp taste also. I really like the tuna salad in the sandwich. It's incredibly rich. The tuna still has a little bit of firmness to it. It's well seasoned, and there's a lot of tuna meat here. It's also been griddled a little bit before being applied to the sandwich, and that little bit of toasty cook on that tuna goes a long way. Perfectly fine produce in the sandwich as well, just like the cheeseburger from before. This is coming together very well. I like this a lot. A good tuna melt here. This is solid. Next up, prime rib dip. They certainly load this up with a lot of shavings of prime rib. We'll give it a nice dip into the jus here. The prime rib dip. Can't say I'm the biggest fan of that. Now, while the French loaf here is toasted, it's only in the center. I actually wish they would toast a little bit on the top because it's very, very soft. Trying to hold this much meat between this flimsy of a bread is actually a bit unwieldy for my taste. The provolone cheese here is nice and mild. Melted well, it has a nice texture, no real issues there. I think the beef for me is just okay. It's not all that tender, it's a bit on the tough and chewy side, and while the jus provides a little bit of additional moisture, it's not enough to really take it to that next level. The beef flavor is fairly robust, but it does feel a bit under-seasoned. The jus is definitely doing most of the heavy lifting when it comes to the flavors. I think a little bit more in reverse would be nice here. I would like a little bit more flavor from the beef, just so that any bites without the jus can still stand on its own merits. Wouldn't say that one's my favorite, unfortunately. Okie dokie, last sandwich to try today is going to be the cowboy cheesesteak. We got this also with a provolone cheese, and effectively you have a Philly cheesesteak here with peppers, onions, and mushrooms. Let's give it a shot. Yeah, that's pretty good. Now, similar to the prime rib dip, they're using that same French loaf here, slightly toasted in the center, but still soft on the outside. Unfortunately, this one, even more than the French dip, is a little bit unwieldy just due to how much of that juice has seeped into this bread. That said, the beef here is much more flavorful than in the prime rib dip. It's also much more tender and juicy and well seasoned. In fact, the beef in the cheesesteak is better than the one in the prime rib dip in every imaginable sense. The mushrooms here provide a nice spongy texture as well as an earthy flavor, and the caramelized peppers and onions provide a sweet and spicy nuttiness here. All in all, this is pretty good. Not a bad cheesesteak sandwich. Next up, we'll try the two sides that come with these sandwiches. First off, the potato salad. While you do have the option to upgrade to french fries, soup, or salad, I believe I'm going to be getting all of those in the next round. So we're just going to be going in on the potato salad and coleslaw here today, starting with the potato salad. Let's see how it is. Yeah, not bad. Now, they've done an excellent cook with the potatoes here. Perfectly soft, fork tender, still retaining their nice starchy flavors. Good cook on the potato. A very rich dressing. There's a lot of mayonnaise at work here. And there's some chives and dill in here providing some additional flavor, as well as some bite coming from some red onions. Unfortunately, I do think that the dressing is a bit under-seasoned. They can definitely use some additional salt and pepper here, especially black pepper. I think this could use a bit more of a kick. But I suppose you could season it to taste at your table. All in all, not a bad potato salad. All right, my friends, now the last bite I'm trying from this lunch round is going to be the coleslaw. A pretty standard looking coleslaw here. Hopefully it's good. Let's see how it is. Oh, I'd say that's just okay. Now I'm going to start with the positives. I actually really like the freshness of the vegetables here. A nice crisp crunch to the cabbage, and a natural sweetness from that carrot works well. The produce here at Binion's Cafe is just fine. The dressing can definitely use a bit of work. It's incredibly sour and tart up front. It's a very sharp flavor, not all that agreeable to me. After the initial tasting, it does mellow out a little bit and you start to get a little bit more of that sweetness, as well as a little bit more of an approachable tang. It tastes better in the second half of the bite than it does up front. It is a bit odd that it plays out that way. I don't think I can say I'm a big fan of this. Personally, I think the recipe could use a little bit of work. All right, everyone, so that's everything I'm trying for the lunch round. I'm going to take a few more bites and we'll box this all up to go, and then we'll do our dinner round next. Don't worry, I'll be right back. And welcome back, my friends. It's time for our dinner round. We've got a lot of great looking entrees. Let me give you a view. I have the chicken parmesan here, as well as their steak frites, their pork chops, and their chicken fried steak. All of this is looking really good. Let's give it a try. Now, all of these entrees do come along with a soup or salad. I decided to try the soup today. Minestrone is what I got. Let's give it a shot. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's a pretty solid minestrone soup. Nice amounts of ground beef in here provide a meaty texture, but in general, I would say the soup is relatively thin. A very light tomato-based broth. I think I personally would appreciate a little bit more of that sweet flavor, but overall it's not too bad. A well-seasoned soup. There's actually a really nice amount of herbs and spices here. Definitely a little bit of a smoky, savory note. And you have some macaroni pasta providing a little bit of a starchy element. This is all fine. I think if that soup was just a little bit thicker and the flavors a little bit more robust, I'd like this a lot. Next up, let's go in on the ribeye steak frites, starting with the ribeye. Now, I asked for this cooked medium, though it looks a little bit between medium rare and medium. While that's typically actually my preference, when you're not exactly working with prime beef, typically it's better to get it a little more cooked. But let's see how this is. Oh, that's good. I'd say this is a pretty solid ribeye. As mentioned before, you're not exactly working with prime beef here, and so it's not the most tender and juicy cut, but even in comparison to the New York strip that we had earlier in the breakfast round, this is much more tender and much more juicy. A lot more fat here than that New York strip as well. It's rendered into the meat, giving it a nice richness. And the ribeye here has more seasoning than its New York counterpart from earlier as well. Between the two, I would easily be getting the ribeye every time here at Binion's Cafe. Much better than the New York, the ribeye is my preference here. Next up, the other part of the equation when it comes to steak frites, the frites. Let's see how the fries are here at Binion's Cafe. Yeah, not bad. Now, I'm pretty sure we're dealing with a prepackaged and frozen French fry here. Though it has been well fried, Unfortunately, it does have a bit of that frozen texture. The center of the potato isn't all that pillowy, much more dense and mushy. That said, it is well seasoned. There is a nice flavor here. And at least when it came to the brand that they used, I still like the rustic skin on. It provides a little bit more flavor. All in all, though, these are perfectly fine French fries. Typically, when I do find prepackaged and frozen French fries, these are the type I prefer. Now, the steak frites also comes along with some garlic bread. Let's give this a try.
Right. You want to do it? Right here.
Yeah, that's a good garlic bread. A very nice thick piece of garlic toast here. I really like the toast job. Has a little bit of a crispy edge to it. But it really comes down to the garlic butter that they've applied. And it's very good. Certainly garlicky and very rich. Although there's a bit of a smoky seasoning blend to this, there's definitely smoked paprika at work here, giving an extra dimension of flavor. That's a solid side right there for the steak frites. Next up, we'll do the chicken parm. Chicken parm is definitely my favorite go-to when it comes to a casino cafe like this. And we've got a nice chicken breast here. I'm going to start with that. Let's give this a taste. Yeah, not bad. I'd say a relatively average chicken cutlet here. The meat itself is tender and relatively well seasoned. Good chicken flavor. Unfortunately, the exterior doesn't have all that much of a crispy texture, much softer than I would prefer it to be. A nice rich salinity coming from the mozzarella cheese here, but I can't say I'm the biggest fan of their tomato sauce. It lacks a certain balance. There's a lot of acid and a bit of a metallic tinge here. I think they need some additional baking soda or sugar in the recipe to help balance that out. It is, in general, well seasoned though. Nice amounts of salt and pepper in the sauce, as well as oregano and other spices. A nice garlicky hit is here too, but unfortunately that metallic tang is really taking away from this dish. Just a little bit of baking soda or sugar would help the sauce a lot. We'll try the pasta from the chicken parm as well. Let's see how this is. And I can't say I'm a big fan of that one. Now you already know my thoughts on the sauce. So that metallic tinge is still present, not working all that well here. Unfortunately, the linguine pasta is definitely store-bought, and it is quite mushy. The pasta here is 100% overdone. It's far too soft. I wish this was a lot firmer. This is unfortunate because I really wanted the chicken parm to be good. It's one of my favorite dishes. Okie dokie, next up we're going on the pork chops. Now you have several different potato options here, French fries, mashed potatoes, and red skin potatoes. So we went with the red skin potatoes here, but we're gonna do the pork chop first. Let's see how it is. Can't say I'm a big fan of this one. Unfortunately, the pork chop is quite tough and very dry. This chewy texture leaves a lot to be desired. It's certainly not the best pork chop I've had. It's very lightly seasoned. There's a bit of a smoky flavor here, but in general, I would say this is relatively bland. You certainly get the flavors of the pork, but unfortunately, it's very underwhelming. A relatively under-seasoned tough pork is just not my favorite dish of the day. Can't really say I like this. We'll go in on the accompanying sides next. Here's the red skin potatoes. Oh, that was good. Now this is a very nice potato side. Very well cooked, beautiful crisp to the outside, very pillowy and soft potato in the center. A very light richness here. I wouldn't say this is heavy by any means. And it's seasoned simply but generously. Good potato flavor here. I actually really like that potato side. That's a good one. All right, my friends, now it's time to go in on the last entree today. This is the chicken fried steak. Got a nice amount on the fork here. Let's see how this is. Oh, it's pretty good. A pretty solid chicken fried steak here. A tender beef steak in the center, and a good beefy flavor. Excellent breading on the outside. It has a wonderful crisp to it. Perfectly fried and very well seasoned also. There's some good flavors here in this chicken fried steak. There's the same gravy that we saw in the biscuits and gravy earlier, and you know I was raving about that. It's no different here. A nice rich creaminess along with that extra peppery kick is working really well with this chicken fried steak. A solid one there, I like that. We're gonna round out the last bit of the sides. This is the mashed potatoes and gravy. Now they're using that same white country gravy here, so I'm already knowing that I'm gonna enjoy half of this. Hopefully the potato half is just as good. Let's give it a shot. Oh, it's very good. I really like these mashed potatoes. A nice rustic preparation. You have chunks of potato in the mash, giving a little bit of diversity to the bite. It is very good. Now we're looking at a garlic mashed potato here. You certainly get a floral note of garlic in the middle of the bite, and in general, just very well seasoned. And in addition with the gravy, it all goes together very well. Solid mashed potatoes here, I like that. All right, my friends, now the last bite I'm trying from dinner tonight is gonna be their jalapeno cornbread. This bread option came along with both the chicken fried steak as well as the pork chops, and I love a good jalapeno cornbread. Let's see how it is here at Binion's Cafe. Yeah, I'd say that's just okay. I want to say this cornbread comes from a prepackaged box recipe, maybe one where you just add water, because the texture here is relatively grainy and a little bit flat. In general, I think the cornbread could use a little bit of additional richness. A little bit of butter or cream would have gone a long way in this recipe. It is just a tad dry in the center. A bit of a robust corn flavor is coming through though, and the heat from the jalapenos that you're expecting, it's present, but it's pretty faint. I think I would personally prefer the flavors to be amped up a lot more in this cornbread. It's passable, but really middle of the road. All right, everyone, now that's all of the food I'm trying today. A few more bites. My friends and I are gonna box this all up to go, and then we'll do some dessert next. Don't go anywhere, because sweets are coming up. And welcome back, my friends. It's time for some dessert. And here at Binion's Cafe, they have 3 options: cheesecake, carrot cake, as well as a chocolate cake. I think chocolate cake sounded good tonight, so that's what I went with. Here it is. Let's give it a try. Yeah, that's pretty good. I'd say a pretty decent chocolate cake here. While it is relatively cakey, it is a tad on the dry side. I would personally prefer a much more moist cake. That said, the fudge layer is actually very tasty here. Nice and sweet, good cocoa flavor, with a nice soft fudgy texture. That is good. The whipped cream provides a nice airy sweetness here. In general, I'd say this is just a pretty solid chocolate cake. A nice way to end the meal, solid chocolate cake. All right, everyone, now that's gonna do it for my meal here at Binion's Cafe at Binion's in downtown Las Vegas. Dinner for me and my friends tonight came out to $260 before tip, and we certainly had a nice time. From the breakfast round, I thought the biscuits and gravy as well as their pancakes were actually quite good. And when it comes to the handhelds, the tuna melt was absolutely my favorite. They've got a pretty solid chicken fried steak here, and I thought the ribeye was decent as well. And the chocolate cake was a nice way to round out the meal tonight. While it may not be super gourmet if you're staying here at Binion's or you're in downtown looking for a cafe meal, this is what you can expect here at Binion's Cafe. All right, everyone, now that's going to do it for the Saturday video, where I'm continuing my quest to vlog every restaurant on the Las Vegas Strip as well as downtown on Fremont Street. Coming this Tuesday, I'm going to be returning to a much more local spot here in the Valley. Make sure you come back for that one. Thank you so much for watching. Have yourself a great weekend, and I hope you enjoy Vegas with me, Shin. Bye.